Alright, good morning gamers. I just wanted to get a quick talk through of a 1000% Enrage Amascut kill up on YouTube today. It should have a good amount of useful information, and it should give a little bit of an idea of what to look out for when you're attempting your first kill at a fairly high Enrage milestone like this. Just one quick disclaimer, this is essentially still a day one strategy video. Us mere mortals who couldn't quite yet crack it in the 2000% Enrage difficulty basically just got access to the Enrage mode today. So this is basically a day one learner point of view video. There's a lot to improve on, a lot left to learn, and a lot left to optimize, but I still hope that you can take some value from this. If there are any interesting moments from our team voice communication, I'll highlight those as well. So just like yesterday, in normal mode, we have basically two roles that we're dividing the team up into. A base tank, myself, two West players, and two East players. We've come up with some small terminologies just as a team so we can call the roles and mechanics together. So when we're dividing the West and East players, we're calling them West in, West out, East in, and East out, just signifying who will go to which side of the arena and who will go inside the pyramid realm, as well as who will provide support to that pyramid player from the outside. So let's go ahead and start the POV now. So to start the kill, I know that I'm going to be taking mage attacks first. I'm trying to surge behind Amascut. That way Amascut turns towards me, away from the other players, and if I ever get any of that Crypt Bloom Death Spore effect that lets my teammates do more damage when they're not facing Amascut, that'll be a small DPS increase for us, so we'll take that. As I'm basing here, I'm just looking out for the mage hits. When the trio attack comes, I am using anticipation or freedom so that I don't get stunned, and then I'm just pray flicking for those accordingly. Then you get this kind of big flurry attack, which is pretty sketchy, so I try to just pray magic for that and sip a few brews if I need to. When scarabs come out, right now as the base tank, I'm more focused on dodging this bend the knee attack, so I'm just prepping to get my immortality defensive ability up. And my team is dividing themselves up to deal with the scarabs, kind of based on their roles. So the two West players are dealing with the West scarabs, the two East players are dealing with the East scarabs. And if there are any stragglers, then by the time that this flurry attack is done, then I'll try and help out if I can. If there are any stragglers, we're all trying to use reflect and vitality potion just to tank through the scarabs. And then we're getting ready for the big style-based obliterate attack. So we see the sky turned blue here, praying mage, using devotion, and trying to resonance for that third attack. I think as people get better and better, they'll start doing similar things to Nikatra, where you do maybe something like a reprisal, reflect, vidpod strategy. But for now, I'm just doing the comfortable devotion strategy and resing the third hit. Once we hit HP cap and gorillas come out, we're just focusing on nuking down these gorillas. So we've divvied up here. I tend to go to the west side to help out the West players. And after we kill the gorilla, I'll just focus on killing the crocodile as the base tank. Weston just went into the portal, as you see. Right now I do get the burden of Atmakin, so I can tank that for a little bit and then I'll pass it off to my teammate. Still, this is at an Enrage where it doesn't ever get high enough to do the insta-kill, so you don't necessarily have to pass it, but we're trying to build good habits for 2k, and it does actually do quite a bit of damage, so still probably worth passing it. Once the crocodile and the gorilla are dead, then the players who are designated as the outside players will then go inside as well and provide any additional support that they can, killing the chains or killing the guardian if necessary. As the base tank, I'm just placing some prisms for teleportation, and then turning my attention to the feline guards. I am looking at the statues. If it becomes time to click them and the outside players are still on the inside helping out, then I can take over that responsibility and click the statues. But generally, these guys do a really good job of coming back out on time to click their statue. Once the statues are all cleansed and it's time for the inside players to grab their Tumikin's Light, we've been trying to coordinate it so that they can come out at a similar time together. It's just made it a little bit easier for us, having that bigger stagger window timing. So we have had the inside players just waiting a little bit, and then we'll communicate that both players are ready by calling relay time or torch relay. Essentially something just signifying that we're ready to relay, bring the torches together, bring the lights of Tumikin together, just like in the Olympic Games, and bring the flames to the statues. So once they do that, we can all turn our attention to Amascut, who'll be in this down state. It can be difficult to remember with all these many things going on, but try to remember to place some debuffs like Quake with ECK or Gothic Staff, anything like that. And then other than that, just trying to do our best damage here. We have a big window of time to soul split, get ready for the next phase. Whenever we do see those light stealer dogs as well, right now we're just trying to pray melee for whenever they charge, and then try to clear them with AoE abilities like Death Skulls or Greater Chain, and some powerful abilities following that. And once we get to the phase 3, this is the most difficult phase of the fight in my opinion, particularly as the base tank. So there's a lot of mechanics going on at once. You have the shockwave attack on the floor. Immediately to start the second phase, you have the trio attack, so you have to anticipate our freedom, pray flick accordingly, step out to the extremity of this shockwave attack, and for the first cycle of the shockwave attack, you'll be perfectly safe. For the second cycle of the shockwave attack, it's going to do that initial shockwave, and then it's going to extend itself outward. So I like to think of it as two halves of the different shockwave. The first half is completely safe to dodge just by standing on the extremity of it. The second half of the shockwave is also easy to dodge just by waiting for the first half to explode and then stepping back into the first half. So you'll notice I'm always waiting at the extremity of the first half. Whenever it's the first cycle, I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is stand there. Whenever it's the second cycle, I'll wait for the first half to blow up, and then I'll just step back into that first half. Once we get the big obliterate attack, we notice the skybox. So again, it turned blue here, pray magic, devotion, and try to res that third hit. Still dodging those shockwaves in that same manner as before. Now, this is the part where it gets a little bit chaotic for me personally. You got that kind of big flurry attack. That's kind of scary. Then you get the grovel again, so the trio attack. Got to make sure to anticipate, prayerfully for those. Everyone else is just focused on dodging the shockwaves and doing as good damage as they can. For me, once I get to this point in the fight, it's a big relief, because that's definitely the most stressful and the most scary part of the fight. I'll just try to eat whatever food I can if necessary, and prepare myself for the next gorilla phase. So this is going to be the gorilla phase where we're going to have to use the explosive scarabs as grenades in order to drop the shields on the gorillas, the guards, and the chains. So in this video, we did actually lose one player fairly early here, which is a bit unlucky, so instead I'm going to take his place and support as the East. So I actually like that this is the video that we're covering, not to make fun of my teammate or anything like that, but because I think this will be a really good example and a really good way to highlight that having a fundamental understanding of these mechanics is what's really going to lead you to success here. And having a good teamwork, cooperation, and communication is really going to be key here. So since our player died on the East side, I'm going to take over his role, and I'm going to start supporting my friend Accident here. I'm going to start getting scarabs. You see, I do use Faso on the gorilla as well. That way I can just skill scarabs a little bit quicker. I can deal with felines a little bit quicker. And I'm just going to try and get as many scarabs as Accident needs. We are talking on voice chat here, so he can count the scarabs that he needs. We're trying not to kill too many additional scarabs more than we need, as they will explode and do some damage to us, which we don't want to do. Once I get all the scarabs into Accident, I'll hop in the realm just a little bit and try and support him a little bit. So I do a little soul fire to one chain. It's not too much, but a little bit helps here. And then I'm trying to go back outside so that I can be in time to cleanse the statues. You see that my other teammate here has done the same thing. He was supporting the West player. He went inside of the realm as well, helped out a little bit, and then hops back out just in time to deal with statues. In the meantime, we're just trying to clear feline ox to the best of our ability, as these guys definitely stack up pretty quickly and definitely can do quite a bit of damage. Particularly as we climb up in Enrage, I think these are some of the habits that we're going to have to try to refine and try to keep building on. So here, since the destruction time was just a little bit more tight than in the first cycle, we didn't do a coordinated relay. We just went first come, first serve. That way we can pause that destruction timer and just make things a little bit more comfortable for ourselves overall. So you see we pause the destruction timer, and the next player will be coming out to do their Tumican relay momentarily. In the meantime, the rest of us will go to Amascut, start setting up our Sunshines or our Living Deaths, and just trying to do the best damage we possibly can do. It's always a good time that we tend to remind our Necromancers to refresh Lord of Bones, refresh debuffs like Enfeeble, Vulnerability, Easy K Quake, or Gothic Staff, anything of that nature, and then just try to do the best damage that we possibly can. We are looking at the count up bar underneath the Amascut, so that indicates when the next phase is going to start. We're just trying to do our best damage during that window of time, and then trying to end the phase with relatively high adrenaline. All of the leftover scarabs are going to turn into big bombs, so we're all trying to barricade ourselves to survive this. Now, phase 5, we're handling it very similarly to normal mode. Since we did lose one player, we are going to be charging one battery at a time, and it is going to go a little bit slower, so I probably will fast forward for a portion of this. The way we've divvied up is that we have 2 players taking the greens, 1 player taking all of the cats to the south, so that's me, and then 1 player focused on charging the solo batteries on the far extremities of the arena. So you can see on the left of my screen, Hotstreak is charging up that east battery, which he can do solo. I'm dealing with the cats and the dogs to the best of my ability, and the other 2 players are alternating taking the green vein blasts. Other things that we're paying attention for as well are just the HP of the soul obelisk. The player who's charging the battery is close enough that he can attack that obelisk on his own, but we do have to pay attention to the far obelisk at times. So since we're charging these batteries one at a time, we will hit the HP cap relatively quickly on Amascut, so just trying to do relatively good damage, nothing too fancy here. Just trying to deal with the mechanic as appropriately. So when she calls a player's name, that player is stepping up to the front, putting themselves in between Tumican, the team, and Amascut, acting as the shield. And then basically we're just going to repeat this 4 times as we have to charge 4 batteries. So I think I'll fast forward through this, as I think mechanically it is rather simple. We'll play maybe one more cycle here. So I'm just dealing with cats. We have 2 players dealing with the green vein attacks, and we have 1 player charging the outermost battery at first. When it does come time to charge the innermost batteries, which require 2 players to form the chain, all we did there is have one of the 2 players who's alternating the green attacks become one of the members of the chain. So he'll still stand close enough to the chain so that he can just hop out to take the green blast and then hop back into the battery chain. All right, so just repeating that 4 times until we get to the end of the phase. Now to start phase 6, we're going to have this big orb in the center, so we're just going to try to do our best damage on this. And then we're going to have 2 players go off to the side of the arena, and they're going to be responsible for platforms and glyphs. So Unsolved has been our main climber, and Hot Streak has been our glyph manager. Meanwhile, the rest of us will just be dealing with this orb HP, trying to keep its HP as low as possible. Once Unsolved does go up to climb the platforms, he's going to communicate which symbol is on the floor of his platform. That way, Hot Streak, who you see on the right, can stand on the same symbol down here in the center of the arena. It's very important that he stands on the same symbol that's indicated up top on the platform, as this is the only thing that can prevent the platform from collapsing prematurely. If he's not standing on the symbol, the platform can just fall from underneath your teammate and basically just fail the kill. So communicating which symbols are on the platforms and which symbols that the downstairs player needs to stand on. Once the climber gets all the way to the top and is able to bring Tumikin's light back down, he'll go ahead and let us know, and we'll start setting up our biggest damaging abilities here. So here we try to DD, we try to prep as best as we can, and we're going to get these shadow clones of Amascut. If we DD, they will do more damage to us, but we're also able to AoE them easier, so there's a little bit of a trade-off there. So right now we're trying to stand relatively close together, have all of the shadow puppets close together so that we can AoE them with things like Threads of Fate or Greater Chain and powerful abilities. Now they actually do quite a bit of damage, so we are making sure to pray melee, and for right now while we're still learning, we're using Reflect and Vitality Potion, and then just trying to do our best AoE damage here. Much like Barrow's Rise of the Six, you do have to kill these puppets relatively close together, otherwise they can revive. Once we do kill all of the puppets, we can turn our attention to Amascut. We're safe to soul split in this time, and all we're trying to do is do our absolute best damage. We're trying to drop this black HP bar, which is kind of like a shield HP bar. We'll drop that down as quickly as we can, and then we can actually start doing damage to the main Amascut HP bar. So from here, again, just dumping absolutely everything we can, trying to get as close to the HP cap as possible. We're a little bit shy here as we're missing a player, but we still did fairly well overall. Now in phase 7, normally I would be standing in the middle and we would have one player in each of the corners, but since we lost one, we'll just have one player in each of the 4 corners. We're taking note of which god statue is in our corner. It is always the same, but for the moment, while we don't have things memorized, it's worth right-clicking and looking which god is in your corner. Amascut is going to call the name of one of those gods, and the player who's standing in the corner with the same god statue is required to provoke Amascut to take her attention. That way, that blast attack is going to be redirected into that statue as opposed to the players. Now, depending which statue she calls, there actually will be some extra mechanics in phase 7, but we did get the easiest one here. We got the Atmican statue, which essentially just means it's a free DPS window, and we did manage to finish off the phase fairly quickly in one cycle as a 4-man. So overall, fairly strong performance. We did manage to get ourselves the 1000% Enrage title just on day 1, basically. On day 1 of the normal Enrages being released. So I think we're all quite happy with that. There's still a lot to improve on, still a lot to learn, mostly from my side, honestly. My teammates are doing insanely well, and we do have pretty good team chemistry so far. Hopefully, we're going to be able to carry this good momentum into getting a 2000% Enrage kill in the next day or 2. That said, I hope that this video was a little bit informative. I know it's very chaotic, I know there's a ton of mechanics, but hopefully there's still some value here. Anyway, be sure to subscribe for more Amascut content, including fully fledged guides coming ASAP. Follow me on Twitch to watch some kills live, and thanks for watching. See you next time.